right, welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole. Good morning. Good morning. There's so many rolling stuff across, I don't know, like trash barrels or something. I thought it was going to quit, but it keeps going, and I don't feel like shutting my window. It's kind of beautiful outside this morning. Today is April 28th, and it is 9:21 a.m. I'm kind of just getting up. I'm having tea this morning because I'm out of coffee. I gotta go grocery shopping, but I am enjoying a nice cup of Lipton's tea. I might have to make myself another cup here before the stream is over. I just kind of feel like streaming. There are a few things that I do want to talk about today. Some things that I've been looking at, what's going on in the world, and other issues taking place. But I kind of want to just mellow out a little bit and hopefully just kick back and kind of get my day going. You know how you play certain things to get your day going, and whatever that might be, could be positive, could be wow, I thought I had this pulled up. Isn't that interesting? I thought I do have a video that I want to go over and do some commentary on, and I'm going to show that here in a moment. It's about the Donald Trump assassination that took place, and there were some interesting points that this one person brought up, and well, you know what? I definitely want to do some commentary on that and just share it with you and see what you think about it. So I'm into Grim Grit, and for some reason, sometimes Grim Grit gives me a point of inspiration, and this one is kind of really happening. The title of it is I resonate with it, and the title of this one, I'm going to play just a little bit of this, a little bit more music maybe, but the title of this is "Hold Up, Their Gossip About You is Actually Them Confessing Their Own," and then it shit basically. So I'm going to play that a little bit here for you. Let me share the screen here. And enjoy your coffee or whatever you're doing. Maybe you're having lunch. If it's almost 12:30 on the East Coast. So good afternoon to you guys.
Look who finally connected the dots. You magnificent, paranoid, absolutely correct human being. Welcome to the revelation you've been avoiding, because the truth was too ugly, too twisted, too perfectly designed to make you feel crazy. But you're not crazy. You're awake. And what you're seeing isn't gossip anymore. It's confession. It's projection. It's them screaming their own secrets while pointing at you. And oh, the irony is so thick you could choke on it. Let's start with something simple. Something so obvious you'll wonder why it took this long to see. Every single thing they accused you of, every whisper, every sideways comment, every "I'm just concerned about them" conversation they had behind your back. It wasn't about you. It was never about you. It was their autobiography written in invisible ink. And you beautiful, trusting fool, you thought they were describing you. They called you manipulative while pulling strings you didn't even know existed. They called you fake while wearing masks so thick their real face forgot how to breathe. They called you selfish while draining every resource, every emotion, every ounce of energy you had left. And you believed them, didn't you? Even if just for a second, even if just in that 3 a.m. spiral where doubt creeps in like smoke under a locked door. But here's the thing about projection. It's not just a defense mechanism, it's a confession under oath. When someone obsessively talks about what you're allegedly doing wrong, they're not analyzing you. They're narrating their own behavior. The cheater who constantly accuses you of cheating. The liar who questions every word you say. The manipulator who warns everyone that you're the puppet master. It's not insight, it's a mirror, and they're too blind to see their own reflection staring back. They're literally telling on themselves while thinking they're exposing you, and the tragic comedy of it all is they can't stop. They're compelled. They're addicted to projecting because facing their own truth would shatter the fragile reality they've built. Let's talk about why they needed you to be the villain so desperately, so urgently, so completely. Because if you're the problem, then they're innocent. If you're the manipulator, then their schemes are justified. If you're the toxic one, then their poison becomes medicine in their twisted narrative. They needed you guilty because your innocence made them visible, made their darkness impossible to ignore, made the contrast so sharp that anyone paying attention could see exactly who was who. So they launched a campaign, a quiet war, fought with whispers and implications, with concerned tones and strategic silences, with carefully placed doubts designed to spread like infection through every mutual connection you shared. And for a while, maybe it worked. Maybe people believed them. Maybe you lost friends, opportunities, peace of mind. Maybe you spent months, years even, trying to prove your innocence to people who were never going to believe you because belief wasn't the point. Control was. They didn't want truth. They wanted a narrative they could live with, a story where they weren't the villain, where their actions made sense, where their cruelty had justification. But here's what they didn't account for. The truth doesn't need your belief to exist, and eventually, the mask slips. The projection becomes too obvious. The patterns become too clear, and people start noticing not what you're doing, but what they're saying about you, and how strangely specific it all sounds. You ever notice how their accusations had details, vivid details, scenarios so specific you wondered where they even came from? That's because they came from their life, their choices, their guilty conscience narrating itself through your name. When they said you couldn't be trusted, it's because they were already betraying someone. When they said you were using people, it's because they saw relationships as transactions and assumed everyone else did too. When they said you were playing victim, it's because they were terrified of their own accountability, terrified that if they stopped playing offense, they'd have to play defense. And their defense was non-existent. Every accusation was a confession. Every criticism was a self-portrait. Every warning about you was an autobiography they were too cowardly to own. And the beautiful thing, the absolutely poetic thing about projection, is that it has an expiration date. You can only blame someone else for your own behavior for so long before the pattern becomes visible, before the story stops making sense, before people start asking why this person is so obsessed with someone they claim to want nothing to do with. Why are they still talking about you months after you stop talking about them? Why do they bring you up in conversations that have nothing to do with you? Why does your name live rent-free in their mouth when you've evicted them from your mind? It's because you're not the subject of their gossip. You're the character in their confession. And they can't stop confessing because the guilt is eating them alive from the inside out. Let's get specific. Let's talk about the types of projections you probably encountered, the flavors of confession disguised as concern. First, there's the loyalty projection, where someone who's been disloyal to everyone they've ever known accuses you of being untrustworthy. They've backstabbed their way through life, switched sides whenever convenient, sold out people for personal gain, and yet somehow, you're the one who can't be trusted. It's almost funny if it wasn't so calculated. They need everyone to doubt your loyalty, because if people trust you, they might tell you things, and those things might reveal the truth about who's really been playing both sides all along. So they plant seeds, drop hints, create doubt where none existed, all while their own loyalty is as stable as a house of cards in a hurricane. Then there's the emotional manipulation projection, the one where someone who's been pulling strings, manufacturing drama, and orchestrating chaos behind the scenes has the audacity to call you manipulative. They've gaslit people into questioning their own reality, twisted situations to fit their narrative, played victim and villain depending on what served them best. And yet you who barely have the energy to manage your own emotions, let alone anyone else's, you're the master manipulator in their story. It's projection so blatant, it's almost art. They see manipulation everywhere because they can't imagine a world where people act without ulterior motives, where kindness isn't a strategy, where honesty isn't a weapon, because in their world, it never is. So they assume.
When I die and they lay me to rest, I'm gonna go to the place that's the sweetest bed. When I lay me down to die, I'm going up to the Twinkie in the, going on up to the Twinkie in the sky. That's where I'm gonna go when I die. I die. I'm gonna bite the snack that I love best. Prepare yourself, you know it's a must. Gotta have a Twinkie if you wanna trust. Just saying, Lordy, I'm so spread. Gonna meet the Twinkie in the sky. Never been a sinner. I've got a sweet tooth, I got an orange sponge cake, a creamy truth. So when I die, don't ask me why. I'm going G up to the Twinkie in the sky. Going on up to the Twinkie in the sky. That's where I'm gonna go when I die. When I die, and they lay me to rest, I'm gonna snack on the Twinkie I love best.
When I die and they lay me to rest, I'm gonna go to the place that's the sweetest best.
All right. Welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole. And thank you for being here. Round of applause for you. All right. I'm just sitting here. It's a Tuesday morning, and I'm drinking some tea, and I'm looking at some things, and I've been looking at some things, and participated in a few chats on other people's shows and observe some stuff. And so we're going to get into a little bit of that later as well. But before we start, I just want to let you know that Not My Rabbit Hole is in the YouTube affiliate program. And today I have discounts on Nike shoes, and they are tagged below and tagged in this video. And if you do hit that tag and decide to purchase a pair of Nike shoes, Not My Rabbit Hole can earn up to a 15% commission. So just do it. Do it. Nike. Just do it. Okay. So that's my one plug for this morning because, and if you want to support Not My Rabbit Hole, I do take super chats and super thanks even afterwards. So, and at the very least, if you cannot contribute, which is totally fine, I understand, or you just fucking hate my guts, at least like and share, maybe hype it, share it with your friends, share it with the people that you know hate me just as much as you do. Yay! All right. Can we get a drum roll, please? Woo! Okay, I need to add some more sounds. I think maybe like honky noises. However, all right. So I want to start with something a video that somebody sent me because Trump had another assassination attempt. I know I'm kind of late on this topic. I mean, there's been a lot out there, and I haven't contributed to the conversation. But I want to talk about something about this video stands out for me. So I'm going to do my fair use banner because we are just talking and educating the public here. And let me do this. This one is this channel. The attempted shooter has very strange connections is what it's titled. It is a couple days old, and it was uploaded by a guy named Polarity. I don't know if that's his name. His channel name is Polarity. And I'll make sure that I have this sourced in my video as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at this a little bit.
Into this slowly and start at the beginning where things were not as weird. And as we tell the story, it's going to get progressively weirder and weirder. So this is before anything happened. This is Caroline Leavitt, White House spokesperson, before the event, saying there will be shots fired tonight.
Ready to rumble, is he not?
He is ready to rumble. I will tell you, this speech tonight will be classic Donald J. Trump. It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great. I'm looking forward to hearing.
So that's interesting, right? Like she says, there'll be shots fired in the room. Now, I mean, is that just a coincidence? Is she psychic? Is she pulling up things out of the air? Do people know about this? I mean, is this it? Okay, here we go. I mean, is it staged, right? That's where, I mean, that's just a question.
I love it.
I don't think that there's a conspiracy in everything. I really don't. And I really don't think that this means anything. I don't think Caroline Leavitt is trying to perform some kind of
Okay, and I agree with him on that. I mean, I don't think this, she's, deceitful or anything like this. It's just a weird coincidence, though. It's weird how coincidences like this happen.
predictive programming or anything like that. But it is worth putting in because I think at least retrospectively, we can appreciate the strangeness of making such a comment and then someone trying to shoot up the White House. So this is the main clip. A lot of people have probably seen this one by now already, but we're just going to play it at the start of the show before we build into the story. This was posted by Nick Sauter. He says, President Trump has been safely evacuated from the White House Correspondents' Dinner per sources. You can hear shots ring out in this video. A shooter opened fire in the lobby. The shooter is dead. We're going to get to that in a moment. This is absolutely insane. Leftist violence must end. It's always such a shame when people use these events to push their own political ideas. You know, some would even argue that that's what this whole thing even is. And we'll get to that. But anyway, here's the clip. It's quite weird. There is such a sort of odd delayed reaction. I mean, the gunshots weren't in.
I know, that's exactly what I was thinking. That they're like you hear the shots, and then you can see the one woman. She's still talking to the other woman, having this pleasant conversation. It's like they didn't even notice that it happened. I don't know about you guys. I've been in situations where there has been shooting around me. And, I've literally ran for cover and looked at my friend. I go, get on the ground, get on the ground. I'm like, what's happening? Those are just firecrackers. Like when something like that really happens, you just don't seem to, you're the first thought that that's what that is doesn't come to your mind. Generally, I think for a lot of people, for me, hey, I hear something, I hear pop, 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 I'm on the freaking ground. All right. Even years ago, even when I was I wasn't even involved in this kind of media or anything like that, or had people making threats on me. I was already like that.
This room, they're out in the corridor. Is that, I don't know, is that a normal reaction? Is it sort of like amongst the noise and the confusion? it takes a few seconds to kind of realize what's happening. I don't want to get too conspiratorial too early.
No, to me, when I look at this seems so theatrical to me. Like, I feel like, I don't know if it's that I disassociate from trauma or, you know, violence, and it looks like a movie to me, and that's how I deal with it, or does this actually really kind of look like production? Like, I don't know. I have this conflict within myself. I don't know if anybody else has that. You know, when I look at things, you know, like this, I'm like, okay, is this real or is this not real? Because we're kind of at a point where it's really hard to tell the difference. Even and just think about, like, now that we have AI. I'm not being conspiratorial. I'm just sharing with you how I really feel. All right. I'm not trying to make you think anyway. I'm just sharing my feelings, if that makes sense.
But I do want to show you guys this clip that I thought was a little bit odd. So this is as it happened, an alternative angle from the other side of the room. What I find interesting about this clip is we see JD Vance get escorted off the stage so much faster and earlier than Trump.
Right? It's like they go back and they go, oops, we forgot the president. Oh my God. Wait, who got Trump? I don't know. We better go get him. Oh my God, we forgot to get the president first. Like, was that just like a mess up? Really? I shouldn't be laughing.
There you go. There's Trump leaving now. That's like a whole 20 seconds after they got JD Vance out of there. And he fell over. Fantastic. Now, again, I'm speaking about things I don't really
and he fell over.
know about here, but that does just strike me as odd. Like, I would assume that there is like procedures and protocols that like the president is like the number one thing that it's your job to protect. So it's weird that there's people coming in to rush out JD Vance and then the president later. I don't know. Do they have separate security services?
Right.
Is JD Vance, he's got that like...
It's like JD Vance has better security coverage than Trump does and the president does.
Like ultra AI, Peter Thiel, Palantir security surveillance. I don't know. I don't know what this is, but I just saw this clip and I thought it was kind of weird enough to put in the show. But this is not really anything to do with the strangeness that we're actually going to get into, which is more revolving around the shooter, which is this man who's named Cole Allen. Okay. So this is a picture of him face down being detained. People are saying that the shooter is dead. He doesn't look dead here. He looks like he's under arrest, but I don't.
Okay, now we know he's not dead because there's been a lot more information and everything, and he's been arrested. And you know, he's even said, the shooter said, I can't believe I lived through this. I wasn't expecting to live through this.
Fully know about that. This is the other shot of him, and this is the video. This is apparently the security footage of this man rushing through security. Comes from the left-hand side. It's pretty wild. Like, it completely catches the security off guard, apparently. But also, like, man, the guy's moving so quick. I mean, who knows what this area is like? You know, where has he gotten this run up from? He's at like max speed. Here he is. You see him come in just here on the very left-hand side, and he's flying. Is it a skinwalker? Skinwalker's at the White House? My God, he's flying. Completely catch security off guard. They basically drop him in. It looks like they start firing.
It's super fast.
And I'm assuming this is the gunshots that we can hear in the main video. So this is Cole Allen. By the way, this is apparently the person who did the shooting. And this is a picture that people have found of him where he was named Teacher of the Month. This is from like some kind of poster or book cover. I think we can see it over here, actually. Here we go. Teacher of the Month. Cole.
And this bothers me because of the fact that there's such an assault. I mean, not assault, but it's not the right word. But there's this degradation of the educational system, especially it's a political bias and now that he's a teacher, I feel like this is open for more criticism. See, I told you what the educational systems are pumping out. This is the guy that's teaching your children, right? So I feel like this is really open for that kind of it's a gateway and opening for a political bashing on higher education, even.
Call Alan. But now we're going to start getting a little bit more conspiratorial. So make sure you've got your tinfoil hat on here. This is where it starts to get a little bit weird. So this is after the event. Naturally, mainstream news is just thrusting it into the eyes and ears of the entire population to make sure that they understand that, the world is in a crisis right now. And they had a caller on the line who started to say something that seemed like they were going to start talking about a false flag event, and they suddenly got cut off the air.
I want to just quickly tell you, I was sitting next to Caroline Levitt, the press secretary's husband. He was one of our guests. He was seated right
No,
next
wait. Think about this, though. Caroline Levitt was the woman that said, made that comment with the word shot in it, right? So, correct, right? So, anyway, this is like, okay, here we go.
to me, and right as the dinner was starting, the national anthem happened, and then he kind of leaned over and said, I watched you on TV, you do a great job. You need to be very safe. And he was very serious when he said that to me. And he kind of looked around the room and he said, there are some...
Gone. Cut off. Get out of here.
Sounds like we lost Aisha's phone there. And this happens, by the way, especially when you have so many people attempting to utilize the same cell service at the same time.
Or especially when you get someone who finds their way on air that starts saying something that goes against the mainstream narrative, potentially. Let's just listen one more time to who she's talking about here.
The press secretary's husband. He was one of our guests. He was seated right next to me. And, right as the dinner was starting, the national anthem happened. And then he kind of leaned over and said, I watched you on TV, you do a great job. You need to be very safe. And he was very serious when he said that to me. And he kind of looked around the room and he said, there are some...
Press secretary's husband. That's Caroline Levitt. That's the woman who, before it started, said shots will be fired tonight.
Right, exactly. Okay, yeah. Because I just mentioned that. I forgot that he said that. Anyway, this is my second time watching this. So it's almost like sort of new again with I'm having my tea this morning, re-looking at it. Okay.
Look, I don't want to draw too many conclusions or connect dots that don't connect. But just retrospectively, at the very least, some strange coincidences going on. That's all I'll say.
Right.
Speaking of strange coincidences, these photos came out from Reuters, and I just can't help but feel like these images, they kind of just remind me of the original, the first time someone tried to shoot Donald Trump. And maybe they're not, maybe they're not staged. I hope they're not staged. But they do just have this like...
Yeah, they're off. They're like amazing pictures, right? It's like, it really does feel like it's... To think as a photographer, I've taken photojournalism. Like I've learned how to do photo. I mean, I am a digital journalist, so I take pictures. To capture something like this in motion is amazing. I mean, this is a great photo. Although we've all seen photos of stuff like this before, though, right? Like we've seen photos of Vietnam War, the one where the little boy is running through the warfare. All of those. They're well-known photographers that all they do is photograph wartime activities. But this, even despite that, all those pictures to me look real. Like you can tell they're real, but there's something I think maybe else kind of inauthentic. I don't know if it's, what bothers me about this picture is that she's very active, right, in her expression. He's doing something, he's moving, but this guy, either he's just sitting there and pointing, like he's like so freaking calm to me. It's like it's like, well, what, it's like maybe this guy needs to go back and get retraining or something. I think that's what throws me off in this photo. That's just my thoughts. I'm just sharing. Like, I'm talking to you. I'm not trying to create a narrative or anything like that. I'm talking to you as if you were sitting here, right here, in my house having tea with me. These are just my thoughts. It's just my analysis of it, of that photo. But even his hands, this hand even looks a little relaxed to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just, maybe I'm just reading more into it than I should. Okay, let me.
Perfect time, perfect moment, perfect expression. It's all just very, very perfect. Maybe they're just brilliant photographers who have no concern for their own safety or danger.
Like, even this is like, hey guys, go run down the hall and let me photograph you. Like, there's something about this other picture that I'm just like, they just don't seem like they're really, there's some sort of adrenaline feeling, urgency missing in their faces for me. They don't look like they're running very fast either. If you think these guys are going to catch that guy who almost looked like he was a skinwalker, Cole Allen running through the room, he was going fast. It doesn't look like these guys are going to even catch them. That guy, come on. Anyway, okay, let me stop. Let me stop.
But this is where it starts to get very strange, because there seems to be a very weird connection to NASA. Okay. So people, now that this person's name is out, Cole Allen, people have obviously...
Okay, now this falls into like the missing scientist stuff and NASA and the not secret space program, but the UFO stuff. And, kind of like, it almost kind of like smacks to what happened with David Wilcock and how he's being spun into that too. So this is all very interesting. And a guy from he reportedly graduated from Caltech as an engineer. That's freaking huge. That's like Pasadena, Caltech. Wow. It's all very...
been doing their detective work online. And Diligent Denizen has come out with a couple of interesting things. And I was in their space earlier today, which was really interesting. Shout out to them. And they've basically said that this Cole Allen person, the shooter, was an intern in 2014 at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL. Okay. This is just a short
JPL. Wow.
Little 10-second clip that they've put together, just highlighting his credentials, his academic career, and basically what he's involved in. And I believe he was hired at NASA as an intern to work on AI models.
I mean, on paper, this guy looks impressive.
That help map the solar system and the planets. But this isn't even the weirdest part, okay? People have also found this.
Okay, here we go. This is where I wanted to go. Notice who that is. That's Pepe the Frog, all right? He doesn't make that connection, but I want to add that connection to this. This is Pepe the Frog.
Account. This is where it gets extremely strange, people. There is this X account that joined on 2023 in December called Henry Martinez. And on that same day, on the 22nd of December, 2023, they tweeted once and once only. And they said Cole Allen. This is the only thing that they've ever posted. And it was 2.5 years ago. And it said the name of the person who has stormed the White House and tried to shoot the president. Okay. Now, okay, maybe that's a coincidence. I understand. But look at this. This is also from Diligent Denizen again. Henry Martinez, the name of the account that we just looked at, published at NASA in 2014, the same year that Cole Allen, the person who just tried to shoot up the White House was an intern there. Now, I know that might sound like a lot, but just to be clear on what has happened here, a man named Cole Allen has just tried to shoot the president, stormed the White House. He's been arrested. People have searched his name, and they have found this old X account called Henry Martinez that only ever tweeted the name Cole Allen. That's all they ever said. And naturally, this has now gone absolutely wild with over 8 million impressions, right? So this is nearly 3 years ago this account did this. And people have just discovered that Cole Allen, the man who was the shooter, worked at NASA in 2014, and so did a man named Henry Martinez, also worked at NASA in 2014. The last little bit of strangeness here is that this odd sort of colorful geometry, people have reverse image searched this and found it on a website called Time Machine. Okay? Now, I don't think this website is literally about building time machines. I did have a quick look at it, and it seems to be more about the digital restoration of cultural heritage and basically restoring the past through data and digitization, 3D digitization. The digital recording of CH is an essential step in understanding and conserving the values of the memory of the past, creating an exact digital record for the future, providing a means to educate, skill, and communicating the knowledge and value of the tangible objects to the society. I mean, I'll be honest, it's hard for me to even grasp exactly what it is that this company does, but that's what I'm kind of getting from it, that they have something to do with like restoring memories, values, cultural ideas of the past in the modern day through data. I don't know. Get in the
Okay, so I get that. I mean, and I agree with him on that, you know, they're collecting data historically, but from what I think I heard, or from what he read, was that they're using that data to predict the future based on like what we've done in the past. So or maybe it's hopefully it would be a way to maybe even like correct the future if you can predict the future of where humanity is going repeatedly, right? If it ends up in our own annihilation, then maybe there's a way to correct the trajectory of that, knowing that if we followed the same pattern, we would end up in this other situation, you know, in a negative situation. Does that make sense? Anyway, okay, let me continue.
Comments if you know a little bit more about this. I don't think it's as weird as everyone feels like it is, and it's more so to do with the fact that they have just called this time machine, but I get it. Amongst everything that already feels very odd, this is just another notch. And just when you thought it couldn't get a little bit stranger, okay, let's be serious for a second here. Every time something significant happens in the world, naturally, like we said earlier with the very first post that we looked at.
I notice that this is the MAGA report. Okay. Take a look at the profile that's sharing this, right? The MAGA report, and they're using Charlie Kirk as their thumbnail. That says a lot right there. That says a lot about this profile and what it's doing. What do you think it's doing right now?
People use these events, no matter how severe and tragic they might be, people will use these events to further their own like political bias and their own agenda. And obviously, a lot of people right now are not happy with Israel. Some of them rightly so. But I think just because of that, we should still be aware of the fact that people can just use AI to make shit up. Like I said, they'll just use these events to kind of further their own ideologies that maybe have no actual basis in reality. We need to be aware of that. So this picture came up. Okay, this is Cole Allen. Look, it's the same guy. You can tell this is the same person. And there's a picture of him here wearing what appears to be an Israeli Defense Force jumper or T-shirt, whatever, a sweatshirt, whatever. If it's an AI, I think it's very well done. Like, they're making the picture feel not perfect, you know, a little bit gritty, not the best camera quality, weird sort of like background props and things, you know, it's a bit messy. I think if this is AI, it's very well done. But one thing I do also see cropping up, and I'm going to do this live for you guys now, is people, whenever an event happens, especially with a shooting, they did this with the Bondi shooter, people believe that these names are being searched in Israel way before the event actually happens. You saw it happen with the Bondi shooter. I've seen it happen with other things, and I've seen people already speculating about this, that this man's name has been searched in Israel. Now, I've seen pictures of it. I'm going to do it right now, live for you guys, and we can see together. Because I think we just need to be aware that, like, not everything we see is true, and that we should sort of fact check stuff as well to make sure that we're not being misled. So this is Google Trends. If you don't know what this is, it basically just tracks the things that people are searching. So this person's name is Cole Thomas Allen, is his full name. And what you can do with this is you can change basically where on the internet they're searching it. And we're just going to go with a full web search. We're going to go, let's just go straight to Israel. Let's just see this. We're going to look at the past.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it there, but those key points really stood out for me, and I wanted to share them with, not my rabbit hole, people that might come to see my channel. I just want to put it out there in the ethos. I'll probably make a short of some of this stuff through StreamYard. So if you're missing this live, well, then, there you go. So I'm going to play a little bit more of Grim Grit, and then I'm going to get into a few topics here to share with you. I played the last one. I'm going to play a different one. This one's titled "They're Whispering About You. Don't Engage. They're Dangerously Smart." And I like this one too. So let's go ahead and play this. But we'll get back into, when I come back, I'm going to talk a little bit about some stuff that's been happening with Sarah R. Adams. I want to discuss a bit of David Wilcock and some of the narratives going on around me on the internet through the last few days. I haven't been able to really speak on them. I haven't wanted to really speak on them. I've made a few posts, but I am really busy right now, and I don't know. It's bizarre and pretty sad on their part, I think, and really irrelevant to what is really going on in the world. I think they should take their head off of me and start thinking about what might be actually happening to us. Really, the president had an assassination attempt. We've got all these strange things happening. I think that the focus and the rumors and the energy happening on some people's YouTube channels is really sad and pointless. I mean, nobody believes you, and nobody who knows me or the circles of work that I exist in and academia and my friends, they don't even know this is happening. And even when I tell them, even if I show them, the personalities and the people are they know it's false. Like, really, seriously. It's not going to go well for you guys at all. It isn't going well. You just haven't faced it yet.
Who finally showed up? The one they can't stop talking about when you're not in the room. Yeah, you. The one whose name gets passed around in hushed tones like a warning label. Like a case file that got too complicated. Like a riddle nobody wants to solve because the answer might shatter everything they thought they knew about intelligence, about power, about what it means to be untouchable in a world that demands everyone be categorized, controlled, conquered. They've been having meetings about you. Did you know that? Not official ones. No, nothing documented. Nothing they'd ever admit to. Just those quiet conversations in corners, those knowing glances across rooms, those text threads that suddenly go silent when your name appears. Don't engage with that one, they say. They're different. They're dangerous. They're the kind of smart that makes you question your own intelligence just by being in the same space. And the funny thing, they're absolutely right. See, there's regular smart, the kind they teach in schools, the kind you can measure with tests and grades and degrees hanging on walls. That's the smart they understand. The smart they can box up and label and feel comfortable around because it plays by rules, follows formulas, stays predictable. Then there's you. You're the kind of smart that doesn't announce itself, doesn't need validation, doesn't perform for an audience. You're the kind of smart that observes everything, forgets nothing, and processes information on levels they can't even begin to comprehend. Your pattern recognition wearing human skin. You're 12 steps ahead while they're still trying to understand step 1. You see connections they'll never see, predict outcomes they can't imagine, and the worst part for them? You do it all without trying, without showing off, without making a sound. You're just existing, just being. And somehow that's more threatening than anything they've ever encountered. They call it dangerous because what they really mean is uncontrollable. They've tried to figure you out, haven't they? Oh, you know they have. They've sent their smartest people, their most charming manipulators, their best observers. They thought if they could just get close enough, if they could just crack the code, they could understand what makes you tick, what gives you that edge, what allows you to navigate complexity like it's breathing while everyone else is drowning in confusion. But here's what happened instead. Every single person they sent came back, changed, not with answers, with questions, not with understanding, with unsettling realizations about their own limitations. I don't know what they're doing, they reported back. But whatever it is, it's operating on a frequency we don't have access to. They're not just thinking differently, they're thinking dimensionally. It's like watching someone play chess while everyone else is still learning checkers. Except they're not even playing chess. They're playing something we don't have a name for yet. You remember the first time someone called you intimidating. You probably laughed because you weren't trying to intimidate anyone. You were just being yourself, just existing in your natural state, just processing the world the way you always have. But to them, your silence was threatening. Your calm was unsettling. Your ability to see through their masks, their games, their carefully constructed personas, that was absolutely terrifying. Because here's the truth they don't want to admit. Most people build their entire identity on illusions, on what they want others to believe about them. They spend so much energy maintaining these facades, these performances, these elaborate lies they tell themselves about who they are. And then you walk in, and within minutes, sometimes seconds, you see right through all of it. You see the insecurity behind the confidence. You see the fear behind the aggression. You see the manipulation behind the kindness. You don't even try to see it. You just do. And they can feel it. They can feel your eyes dissecting their reality, and it makes their skin crawl because they know, they absolutely know, that they can't fool you the way they fool everyone else. So they started warning each other that one's too smart for their own good, they say, which is hilarious because what they really mean is too smart for our good. They mean your intelligence disrupts their comfort. They mean your awareness threatens their control. They mean if everyone was as perceptive as you, their whole system of manipulation and social hierarchy would collapse overnight. So they try to make it sound like a character flaw, like there's something wrong with being able to think critically, observe accurately, connect dots that others can't even see exist. They try to pathologize your brilliance because accepting it would mean admitting their own limitations, and their egos simply won't allow that kind of honesty. So instead, they turn you into the problem. Don't engage. They warn. They'll make you feel stupid without even trying. They'll expose your weaknesses without saying a word. They're dangerous. Yes, you are dangerous. Dangerous to lies. Dangerous to mediocrity. Dangerous to anyone who's built their power on keeping others confused, compliant, and convinced they're not capable of seeing what's really happening. But let's talk about what this kind of intelligence actually looks like, because it's not what they show in movies. It's not some genius sitting in a dark room solving impossible equations or spouting off facts to prove how smart they are. No, your intelligence is quieter, deeper, more surgical. It shows up in the way you listen. Really listen. Catching the words people don't say, the micro expressions that contradict their statements, the patterns in their behavior that reveal their true intentions. It shows up in how you navigate complex social situations without breaking a sweat. How you can read a room in seconds and know exactly who holds real power, who's faking it, who's dangerous, who's harmless, who's lying, who's genuine. You don't need them to tell you. You just know. It's in the way you solve problems that leave others paralyzed. Not because you have some special knowledge, but because you can hold multiple perspectives simultaneously, see all the angles, understand the second and third order consequences of decisions before they're even made, while they're arguing about what to do. You've already mapped out 17 different scenarios and their outcomes. While they're reacting emotionally, you're 3 steps ahead, calm, collected, already adapting to what's coming next. This is what makes them uncomfortable. Not that you're smart, but that you're smart in ways they can't measure, can't.
Indigenous insectoids weaving you the void, drought in your brain, making you insane. Wrapping up Benjamin Fulford, living the absurd like a blue avian nerd, keeping the lines blurred. Captain Mark Richards, a secret space program drifter, getting married while in prison, making you listen, create a new religion, doing the reptilian, making you forget my sins. Super soldier talks in prison, Nordic and Draco, shape shifting in my Winnebago. Indigenous insectoids weaving you the void, drought in your brain, making you insane. Wrapping the Benjamin forward, living the absurd like a blue avian nerd, keeping the lines wrapping like Benjamin forward, living the absurd like a blue avian nerd, keeping the lines blurred. Rapping like Benjamin Fulford. Word.
All right, so did you hear the blue avian, like a blue avian nerd, blue avian, those lyrics? I actually, those are my lyrics. I threw them into Suno.com. Benjamin Fulford was like right up there with David Wilcock. You know, when all this was booming, like in 2011, 2010, 2012, I was watching, and I was a follower of David Wilcock. In fact, I purchased one of his books and I gave it to my mother as a gift. But he lost me at Blue Avian. And, you know, I've been vocal about it. And there's nothing criminal in saying that on Not My Rabbit Hole. In fact, in a way, David Wilcock kind of inspired Not My Rabbit Hole. You know, like, that's not my rabbit hole. You know, I used to be in a media that talked about David Wilcock as if he was like the shit, authentic, new stuff, a big deal. And I became disillusioned with that environment and the lies and the spreading of things that were disinformation. I caught them in a lie. And then this media had the audacity to call itself the truth media. Really? That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing about this channel. It's about busting that fucking lie. And as far as I'm concerned, David Wilcock was very much at the helm of that. Is that a crime for me to say that out loud? Does it make other people upset? Probably, because I'm shattering their belief systems right now. They want to believe that blue avians are real and that Corey Good is not a fraudster. And I have no shame in saying any of these things out loud. It is necessary to call people on their bullshit. It is necessary to be that harsh in looking for what the truth is, because the truth matters to me. I personally never really had much contact. I never even met David Wilcock. I didn't hang out in his. I never tried to contact him on the internet. I don't even know Corey Good. But what I have done is I have participated on some panels on Truth Seekers talking about David Wilcock and Corey Good, and have shared those viewpoints. And I have a few videos where I have discussed some of these topics, but it's pretty mild on Not My Rabbit Hole. And yet, and I knew this was going to happen. I mean, the minute this happened, the minute, the news came out and everybody started to say maybe, David Wilcock took his own life. The minute it started to happen, I knew instantly that Sarah was going to run with that narrative. I'm talking Sarah R. Adams. I saw it. Like I even think I even put it out there. I think I even said it, or I wrote it. Watch Sarah do this. Sarah's going to run with this and blame me and Stephen Cambion. And then running around back to her that we've done this to her and that we are criminal for what we've done for David Wilcock. I barely said anything about David Wilcock on this channel, but that is my opinion. And I have expressed it. And there's not a crime in that. I'm going to say one more thing, too, before I play a song. David Wilcock was involved with 17 Anon and Pizzagate. And he was still sharing those things on his channel, Shadow of Ezra, I think that's the name of the account, that's still furthering those things. I did not respect that. I felt that he had compromised himself and used what he was doing on his platform with, I guess, enlightening us or telling us how extraterrestrials are or beyond ancient aliens. But he crossed over into a propaganda that has affected American politics. I do not have a problem saying that out loud. Let's play another song.
Extraterrestrial hybridized DNA. Don't need to worry about tooth decay. Kevin Spacey and his clone are feeling alone. Men who stare at goats. The Thrill Society Road. Super Soldier Sunday, just another fun day. 75 years on Mars, lying about the stars. Captain Richard Chance like Charles Manson's gun. Liars in the sun. Liars in the sun. Montauk's in the sun. Montauk, Super Soldier Talk, Super Space Program. Let's jam. Montauk, Super Soldier Talk, Super Space Program. Let's jam.
All right, so let me stop this here for a second. Welcome back to Not My Rabbit Hole after playing that song. Yeah, I wanted to express that, especially in light of the fact that Thomas Schoenberger is posting, he's trying to make it look like, because I was on a show. And you can look at my timeline if you want to. I just don't want to share it right now because it is. I have reposted it in various places, including X. There, where he apparently there are people that they're just searching any little piece of dirt that they can find me on the internet right now. I mean, this is a post I made somewhere on social media back in 2023, 3 years ago, where I was on the panel of a show with Stephen Cambion on Truth Seekers that's titled has, David Wilcock gone crazy. Well, apparently that's a pretty good question to ask at this point. We were asking that 3 years ago. So, I was on a panel, a big deal, because I went on that show. What is this, McCarthyism or something? Because I went on that show and I discussed things about David Wilcock and how and gave my 2 cents on what I thought was going on with him, or that I didn't, I was disputing his belief system or his teachings. What, am I not supposed to question somebody else's research or work? No, I'll tell you what cyber stalking is. That's what's been happening to me by Sarah R. Adams, who is threatening, police and calling my school and trying to ruin my reputation and spread lies that I threatened to SA her. oh, that's an oldie but goodie, because Sarah actually tried to get Stephen Cambion to do a show about that like 6 years ago. Came into my chat and tried to pull that bullshit on me. No, Sarah, I don't practice witchcraft, but you've said it everywhere, including getting Thomas Schoenberger to say it and getting Thomas Schoenberger to share the essay stuff and saying, I've got credible evidence. Sarah, both Sarah and Thomas are going with the whole David Wilcock, I'm guilty of, of causing him to do what he did. And I need to be criminally prosecuted. Out there, words, everything. The biggest defamation. Sarah and Thomas Schoenberger are they're using his death to further their defamation of me. Personally, I think that's absolutely outrageous for the both of them to waste their time and energy doing that in a public smear on the internet. Because again, just like David Wilcock, if I say I don't believe in fucking blue avians, I don't believe in, Sarah Rachel Adams' light language or her grift, or the fact that she actually did a mushroom ritual with synthetic mushrooms and nearly killed one of her clients, who was the daughter-in-law of a famous comedian. I don't have a problem speaking that, reporting on it, showing evidence of it, or doing any of that. Because guess what, Sarah? That is journalism. And that is what I've done here. And you know what's really happened here for Sarah and even for Thomas is that you've made an example out of yourselves. You've lost your credibility. You've ruined your own credibility, your own lawsuits, your own careers. You've done it because people can see what a liar you are and how malicious you are and how guilty. And I bet one day some of you is either institutionalized or behind bars or with a huge lawsuit debt. Okay? And it's coming for you, Sarah. And people have witnessed it. Sarah's like posting things that she's hiding out in hotel rooms because she's fearing for her life for me. When I am finishing up my MFA at my university, and the only thing I've been doing is working on my studies and attending classes and taking care of business in my life and doing an occasional podcast stream like I am right now, Sarah. To be honest, if Miss Sarah Rachel Adams is listening, I'd rather move on and stop fucking talking about her because there's nothing really left to say. Got it, Sarah? And anybody else who wants to support her or waste my fucking time with your drama? Go stuff it, guys. So, I'm going to clean the palette here for a second.
I wish that I could know why you decided to show, why you didn't just go, why you still call. call her Jane Doe. She was 13, not yet 16, not even a tween. Her friends said it would be funny if she met Epstein. He got it for the weekend, said she could bring a friend, said he needed someone who looked young, a blonde and a wig. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend, and her friend thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend, and her friend thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And they said they all met a nice man, and his name was Prince Andrew, and she thought he was harmless, so she went with her friend, and her thought he was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought he was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she met a girl named Katie Johnson, and she looked just like me, and they thought it was harmless, so they went with their friend. And I thought it was harmless, so I went with my friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And her friend's friend thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And her friend's friend thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And her friend's friend thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was.
All right. So I want to show something. There's something interesting now. Again, I after I've said all that stuff about David Wilcock, I am going to say that my condolences to everybody who loved him and were believed in what he said. I mean, I wish David Wilcock had gotten help. He needed help. You know, I wish I could have helped him. You know, like talk somebody out of like doing self-destruction. There's always an answer to your problems. My feeling is, and this is my own analysis, is that he lied so much he couldn't even take it anymore. Maybe he got disillusioned over Trump. Maybe he knows something. Maybe he went, oh my God, I backed the wrong guy. Everything, I've gone in the wrong direction. Look, when you're a public personality, I'm going to say this, like as someone like David Wilcock, who is saying the things that he's saying, like I consider myself, I'm not as big as David Wilcock. Well, you know, I have had 15 minutes of fame, so I'll give myself that. But when you're in the public eye, people are going to say shit about you. I mean, look what's happening to me. I mean, what they're saying is defamation and lies. But how is it any different of what I'm going through than what David Wilcock has gone through? There is no difference. I have just as much hate coming at me. Maybe I even have more than what he had. Because he had a huge support system of love from people, more than me on the internet. He had a bigger channel even than I do. But I get the same kind of shit. I felt unsafe because I've had my address doxed, or people saying that they're going to dox my address, or they mention my real maiden last name online. They're searching, they're digging into me. They know where I live. They threaten to do things. They threaten to meet me on my campus. They post my address. how am I different than anybody else? You know, how am I different than what people say happened to David Wilcock? You know, there's a difference between people doing stuff like that, right? Which is going into criminal areas that, and also laws that we don't have on the internet yet that needs to be on the internet. But you also have like, you know, people like, if you are a public personality, people are they're going to talk about your hair and your teeth and how fat you are and how unattractive you are, how fast you're aging, how unfunny you are, how much they hate your personality, how, you know, what a hag you are. You know, those things are, people are just going to say it. I don't like them. I don't like what they say. I don't believe what they're saying is true. That when you put it out there, you are subject to a certain type of scrutiny. You better have a thick skin. Because our Constitution protects people to legally say those things about you because you're a public personality. And being a public personality, you even have less protection than a private citizen. These are the real facts. Okay? But when people are saying untrue things about you, things that can maliciously hurt, like it's done with malicious intent, and it's meant to ruin your livelihood and your reputation. It's slander. The Constitution doesn't protect you for that. That's why somebody can be sued for it. Saying false truths, you can be penalized for. That's a whole nother situation. Cyber stalking is different, though. Cyber stalking is when you go into somebody's life. There's some doxing going on. There's impersonation of you on the internet. People using your likeliness and making false profiles of you. Maybe making fake wig hair appointments. Texting you and harassing you. Leaving voicemails that are harassing. Telling other people to do things to you because of like who you are and how bad you are. Like, for example, I'm going to say it. Nathan Stillman said that. He literally told people to come after me on behalf of him and I'll sue you. And he was told to do that. Somebody else gave him that instruction. Those are more forms of like harassment, targeted harassment. An attack an attack on a digital device, let's just say. You know, and there are different states implementing, harassment laws and things like this on a digital device, but it's still kind of spotty. Police officers, I got this whole thing about like, the lady who's the witch and Sarah, they were like talking to the police about me and they filed a report. Yeah, they probably didn't. It's really hard for police officers to be able to do anything on the internet. That's why that's why David's Sheriff's Department can't do anything, because there's no laws. They have no jurisdiction on what David is doing for their Sheriff's Department. It falls underneath the First Amendment, even though he has to be prosecuted civilly before they can do anything. If he violates that, then maybe they can take some sort of action. But until but it happens and it's orchestrated. And Corey Good, when you talk about like this whole thing about people cyber stalking David Wilcock, that's coming from Corey Good, the Blue Avian guy. Okay? The guy who was like selling tarots and stuff like that he drew and created. Okay, fine. But it kind of all falls into that stereotypical a snake oil salesman might do, or, you know, a person that's logged on into this UFO New Age demographic, secret space program, which crosses over to the super soldiers. David Wilcock and Corey Good were talking about the secret space program. All right. And there were a lot of fake stories in it. Is there a real secret space program? Maybe, but they fucked the real part up by saying some lies around it. Because that's like a little thing that happens to you. Like, you know, it's like, well, if you don't really, if you need to like have some sort of disclosure so people like kind of know what's going on, one, you got to say a few fake things in there too and kind of mash it up. Otherwise, you're not going to be allowed to say it or whatever, right? Or it's done intentionally. It's weaponized in a way. It's been weaponized in our politics. See? Because these people that came up with these terms like blue alien and blue avian and secret space program and UFOs, they also became part of Trump and MAGA and 17 and on. They all did. Even Kerry Cassidy, even James Rink. There's nothing criminal about pointing that out, Sarah R. Adams. You know, we talk about the pattern recognition here. The the data concludes that things have migrated like this in these directions from these influencers of UFO information on the internet and online. They went. Simon Parks did it. Why does a secret space program have to be associated with Trump? And to prove my point, I want to go. What's interesting about David Wilcock's last video for me? Okay. I want to just go to like the thumbnail. Can you see that? Look at the thumbnail. This is the thumbnail of the last video he ever did. It's Trump being Jesus. Pathway to Peace. A couple days later, after we realized that, you know, David Wilcock has passed, we have the Trump attempt on his life. An attempt on Trump's life, right? So here's what I want to here's what I want to speak about, and I'll
change the outcome. And
we're going to go back to here. It's going to start here in a second.
All right, David, wait a minute. Just wait a frickin' minute. You mean to tell me that the flippin' president of the United States of America is going to go out on camera, David, and he's going to dress himself up as Jesus flippin' Christ in a red robe? Oh, but he's going to say, well, I was a doctor. That had nothing to do with Jesus. Doesn't matter that there's a woman over there on the other side who's praying with her hands together. Oh, yeah, you know, that's the Salvation Army, or that's the Red Cross. Oh, my God, son. I'll just tell you what, okay? The media that I listen to, my sources, okay, CNN, NBC, you know, these sources are saying, what in the world is he doing? This is blasphemy, boy. If I had any idea how many times I've tried to tell you, David, do not cross certain lines. You want to stay in your lane, keep the gear shift at the right frequency, because I'll tell you what, son, you start talking like this on your own show, you start making a big ruckus and a big fuss, and David, I have had it. You can't be out there acting like it's okay for you to come into this house, in my house, under my roof, with my silverware, my dishes, my refrigerator, my freaking pot roast that my lovely, beautiful wife made for us all to enjoy. You think I'm going to stand there and let you dress up as Jesus flipping Christ? No way, son. You better come in here. Don't you wear that robe in here, boy. You get the hell out of here. You think you're Jesus Christ. I'm not going to stand for it because I have had it. Oh, David, would you please just listen to the voice of reason for once in your life? Try to listen to dear old daddy. God, it's too much, son. It's just too much. Well, getting off to a big bang. Getting off to a nice big bang as Angry Daddy Incarnate, bringing you live, David Wilcock, The Pathway to Peace, ? Yeah, I mean, what the hell was that?
And so, yeah, in a way, I find this, the reason why I find this to be really interesting is that he's doing a comedy bit, right? I mean, he thought this out. He's got, like, I don't know if that's a cigarette that he's pretending to have. He's playing some sort of concept of a boomer. And he is ridiculing, I think, people. Like he's making fun of the reaction that people had about Trump exalting himself into being like Jesus. It's like, if you look at the photo, and again, I guess, like, Donald Trump is being funny, to people. Like, he made a meme, ha ha ha, look at me as Jesus Christ. But for a big demographic of people, it didn't go well. So he's basically like justifying or attempting to justify Trump's behavior and ridiculing. He's playing a character of somebody who's offended by that. And they're obviously old and they're smoking. Okay. That's the joke here.
It's kind of a little bit weird, but you weren't going to show up tonight, but how come you're here? Well, I decided during the night that, well, actually what happened was, oh man, I missed the Angry Daddy routine on the backup switcher, but we got everything else.
So it's the Angry Daddy routine. It's the Angry Daddy routine about Trump. Well, really, why do you think people are upset about that? Because putting yourself in a position of godlike status, or Jesus especially, is really triggering for the beliefs of people who are Christians, which, if you really look at it, David Wilcock is not preaching Christianity to his followers. He's doing channeling of somebody who goes by the name of Ra, or it sounds like Ra, the deity Ra. It's funny how I said that. I didn't mean to have it come out that way. But somebody who apparently goes by the name Ra. But the book of the whatever, like the book of the dead, the book of the law, the book of the blah, 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 blah. It's like, it's kind of even Crowley-like, if you think about it. He is part of the love and light crowd. So in a way, like, for a lot of people, this could be very blasphemous, an insult to their belief, to their God, to Jesus. Because Jesus said, there's no way to the Father but by me. People see it as, like, what Trump doing that as being egotistical. You do not exalt yourself to the position of Jesus Christ. How do you think you should say that they, like, call him your brother like David Schroeder does? Like, so David Schroeder's, Jesus's brother breaking bread at the table having stew. That's just my opinion.
So now I'm recording, but I didn't record that first bit. That's okay. We could pull it off the YouTube thing. Anyway, wow, huh? What a day. What a time. Yeah, it's a very strange thing, man. Oh, Midnight Mark says, hey, brother, I'm going to miss the first half. He's going to plot a garden. Thank you very much, Midnight Mark. I'm glad you're here. It's one of our great moderators. See if I missed anybody else. 7 geometric thought forms. We have lots and lots of laughter icons while I was doing the Angry Daddy routine, as is always the case. We're already at 1,200 viewers. You guys showed up for me. Thank you very, very much for that. We got Solopoly donated as well. That was the first one. Thank you guys very, very much for the donations. I really appreciate you. And yes, so Angry Daddy is nothing bad. It's just my character. So if it shows up in the comments, it doesn't mean anybody's trying to say anything weird or sick or otherwise strange. It's just where we're at. How many people bet on the shirt? I thought I'd throw you guys for a loop and do something you're never supposed to do, which is to wear a pattern. Traditional, old-fashioned 4x3 television. This would cause a moire that you really, really don't want when you're on TV. Beverly Adams is going to be in and out all day. Sorry to hear that. Glad you decided to do the show today, David. It's been a crappy week for me, says Creative Nature Girl. Ox Christ is King says, I'm tired, boss.
Just want to go a little bit more. I couldn't hear. I want to see a daddy again. I want Angry Daddy.
Sean, you just take a big old paintbrush and grease those things on either side. Would you please shave your face, David? For God's sake, for once in your life, would you actually listen to your dear old daddy? Thank you, R.W. Phoenix. Thank you, Deanne Johnson. You got to give my son some credit here because he's so crazy. For him to come out and say this stuff over and over again, it's pretty wild. I don't know how the hell he does it, but he does it week after week. So thank you, everybody. Thank you on behalf of Angry Daddy. Woo, okay. Things are getting wild around here.
Okay, here's more Angry Daddy. Okay, here we go here.
Having a flipping ball of light in their hand, where you put the other hand on somebody's head and people are praying. You're telling me that that's just a regular, ordinary doctor for, oh yeah. And the Red Cross, you know how they love to come in with that robe that's all red and white and just, David, give me a...
Yeah, I want the beginning of that because he's still talking about Trump. Hold on. Go right, like maybe here.
In some ways, maybe it feels like in the proximity of truth. Like, yeah, you know, he's... Who else would be able to fulfill that role right now? And he's
okay. Go back even farther. He's talking about Trump. Hold on. Okay, let's just go from here.
One, and then the rest. WGA. You better listen to your dear old daddy. Isn't that right? See, in order to get the voice to sound right, I got to pull my mouth way over to the side. Because then that way you get a slur. You get these things that start to happen where it's like if somebody has a stroke is basically what that comes from. Just tuned in for Angry Daddy. Perfect timing. It's Cameron Clapp. All right. Well, so far so good, you guys. Well, we've got a lot of things happening here, and it's okay to discuss what's really going on with the President of the United States. And like, okay, did this, I mean, it's definitely a frustrating thing. Because, you know, I consider him to be like a friend and a mentor. You know, I think that
So he considers Trump to be a friend and a mentor. So has David had conversations with Trump?
We want to see him succeed. I mean, if you don't, then it's kind of...
We want to see him succeed. So he's a big Trump guy. He's defending Trump on his last show. I mean, that's why, to me, I don't see anybody talking about this. Like, and I'm going to show a little bit of somebody else's coverage of this just to kind of put a different perspective on how people are seeing what's happening, what might have happened to David Wilcock. But you know, I just find this aspect that this is in his very last show, a few days before Trump somebody attempts to take Trump's life, he is doing comedy routines and defending Trump and defending Trump's depiction of himself as Jesus Christ. Okay, I just find that interesting. Why doesn't anybody? Maybe nobody else does. Maybe it means nothing. Maybe there's no connection there. There's no coincidence there at all.
Nihilistic. Even if you are on an anti type of perspective, like, okay, I get that because I have a lot of family members like this. But even if you have that kind of perspective, like, well, wait a minute, if he screws up everything, then we're all going to be screwed up and nothing's going to be any good. So like, let's try to make the best out of this. Let's try to find a way to heal the situation and have some understanding perhaps of like, okay, well, is it all really just going to hell? And is he actually the Antichrist, right? Like that's the speculation's coming out. Oh my God, he was wounded on the ear and yet did live. He wounded on the side, and formed into an idol to be worshipped by all peoples and all nations and all tongues and da-da-da-da. Like, whoa, is that what's really going on here? Is that what we're really seeing? And that's a very heavy concept to try to wrestle with because, yeah, you know what? And in some ways, maybe it feels like in the proximity of truth, like, yeah, who else would be able to fulfill that role right now? And he's, he's going on these war tangents and he's blowing people up and, oh my God, he's posing as the Christ. And then he says, oh, I'm just a doctor. Well, doctors, son, let me tell you something, okay? Doctors don't usually get into a healing regime involving a flippin' ball of light in their hand where you put the other hand on somebody's head and people are praying. You're telling me that that's just a regular, ordinary doctor for, oh yeah. And the Red Cross, you know how they love to come in with that robe that's all red and white and just, David, give me a break. This guy, we just need to get the 25th Amendment fired up as quick as we possibly can. Just get him the hell out of there because I have hit it. All right. Wow. Angry Daddy is in effect. It is happening. It is on track, man. We are doing this.
So it's like basically what he's saying in his comedy routine. All right, let me break this down here. He's saying that people who think this about Trump are stereotypical angry daddies. It's like the male version of a Karen or Trump derangement syndrome. He's using comedy, right? I mean, we all do to give an example of his point so people will laugh at it. But apparently Jimmy Kimmel's really pissed off people again. I need to look into that more. Apparently he just said some really offensive things. So let me say some offensive things to you guys today in this demographic. Just kidding.
We are live. Anything can happen. No holds barred. We are ready to go. So the Antichrist, I mean, whoa. Like, I think that's a little bit extreme. To say Trump is Jesus is unforgivable blasphemy. No, I did not say he was Jesus. It's just something that came up, and we're trying to look at it, deal with it however we can. Anyway, to just start out with some business, I want to thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to be here. Every day that I have on earth is a gift and a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that because, frankly, people are disappearing. Scientists are going missing. Now they're saying they're going to investigate this. The president himself is saying they're going to look into this and see if anything's going on. It's a little bit scary. I got to say, it's a little bit scary, but you guys knew that I might still show up even though it was last minute and I've had a really rough week. Like, that's kind of like every week, but somehow we keep on making it through all of this. Somehow we keep on grinding our way through this thing and keeping on track and having it work out. So, my God, the big thing, of course, is this Iran-Iraq, well, not really Iraq, but Iran war.
Okay, I'm going to kind of stop this right here. Okay, so, and that clip, that part right there about I'm really grateful to be here. There's a lot of scientists missing. There's a lot of weird things happening. Then the attempt happens on Trump. There's like, and if you, when I go on Facebook, everything I see is David Wilcock, David Wilcock, David Wilcock, David Wilcock, and these different viewpoints. I see Jay Wiedner of Gaia TV blaming Corey and saying it's Corey's fault, and Corey, took David down the wrong path and mentally siphoned and uses resources and this and that. There's another video that it's on X, and I might do a longer thing about this. I wasn't thinking I was going to go this deep into David Wilcock, but I'm kind of going to go with that intuition right now. Because I just want to share you what I'm looking at. On X, I saw like all these clips of David talking about this project that he invested in, some sort of technology. And he's always saying, you know, like over the years, we're going to get funding, we're getting close, the money's coming in any day now, blah, 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 blah. And then I guess it's like his way of asking for more funds for him to help this company. And so there's some people that are saying that he became financially destitute over this this company that never produced anything. And that might have affected what happened the day, because the day after this, he did what he did. And so there are things that he said here that don't add up. There's also a letter that he sent to his lawyer, and it says that if something happens to me, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't say that if something happens to me by my own hands, but it kind of makes it allude to that he saw himself or his life as ending. What if, now some people might not like this theory, but what if he knew, let's say, like, because to me, when I look at this, a possibility, let's go down my rabbit hole for a second. He's having he's breaking down because he realized that what he's been supporting is an illusion, and that Trump isn't the person that he thought he was. And he did do that, and there is a big backlash. And so, like, in this, he's still trying to justify his stance, his face, because he's put his face behind a lot of these things that he said are true and are reality. And, we were supposed to have the ascension in 2012, but it didn't happen. It was supposed to happen at the end of the Mayan calendar. It didn't happen. Okay. So a lot of his, examples of his prophecy, because David Wilcock wasn't just a UFO researcher. He prophesized for people. He put himself in the status of being a prophet. So he's kind of like a guru. And he wrapped a lot of these conspiracies within that in a manipulation. And that manipulation also manipulated a belief in what Trump was doing and what Trump was dealing with, or what Trump represented to his demographic. And whenever you put religion and politics together, or spiritual belief in something together, and you intertwine it, it's a way to really manipulate a large portion of people or society. Okay? And what if he was like, oh my God, I'm breaking down here on this. I'm breaking down. I've been lying to people. I've made some mistakes in my life. And he's so worried about losing his ego or his place or what people think about him afterwards, that he writes a nebulous letter about him, like having something happen to him. Because, like, if he really does do what he does, at least it will give, and he says what he says before he goes, because at least it will give people years of conspiracy, and he'll still be forever exalted into some sort of prophetic status for the people that believed in him or believed in that aspect of the mask of who he is. What if that's going on? Anybody think about that? Or is that just like too out there for people? Hey, UD. Nice to see you here. So, yeah, I'm glad to see you here, actually, because there's something that I want to ask you about something. It's not super major, but, well, maybe I just ask you right now. Oh, would you say, I agree with that, Terry. I've been saying it for days, and he wanted to be tied to missing scientists forever. Right. It was a manipulation to spin a narrative. I know that I am like, what? How so twisted? But what if it is that twisted? I don't know. So, I feel like a song. Okay, I do want to go. So, UD, let me ask you this. So I did a show about my interview with Liz Moldavon, and you know, there's a thing going on with Owen Benjamin happening, and a lawsuit, and I'm seeing certain demographics of people involved in the drama of that you know have vacillated between our channels, and also been a topic of conflict in terms of like the, you know, like when I saw like what Blazing Scars said to you, let's call it the hard R. That's a new term I've just heard recently because I was watching Sewer Town last night. And then it made me think of like Jedi's, you know, channel that he had, Branch of the Hard R or something like that. I've seen somebody use that. But anyway, so there's a guy named Clown Force that had never like been in my chat before, and so Liz got caught up in this lawsuit with Owen Benjamin, and I started to cover Owen Benjamin because he's a comedian and I've worked with him before, and there's like these crossovers. I interviewed Adam Camacho, who is a documentary filmmaker that he did the footage for the Bertaria documentary. I've been interested in like what he's done and how kind of cult-like it is and everything. And so, you know, I made some comments about Liz, you know, like being in Owen Benjamin's trial or somehow linked. And she says, if you want that information, I'll do an interview with you. So we did. And I live streamed it on my channel. It was on Good Friday of all days. And what was interesting about it is that immediately after that, I didn't find this out till 10 days later. Immediately after that, she went on Telly's show. And I don't know much about Telly. I don't. There's a lot of you guys that have been like around or, you know, have conflict with one another. I've heard the name, but it was like he wasn't somebody that I've never gone to his channel, but somebody sent his stream to me and time-stamped certain things that they said about me and our interview that were negative, you know, saying that I was, you know, that how is it that a white person can, you know, I hate it when they stand up for other races when they're just white. Well, you know what? And I was standing for Adam Camacho because I didn't like the way they call him a beaner and a cockroach. And I'm sorry, but I see this, when you talk about pattern recognition, I see these types of things being said to people, put in their video titles, which is shocking to me. And, you know, saying, oh, well, you know, because you're white and you're saying anything about it, you know, you're just one of those stupid liberal people that, you know, got a degree kind of attitude, really. Blaming it on the education, blaming it on the university about my thoughts. Actually, I've always been like that. Like, I've always been like this. And then I said, well, you know, I'm half Mexican. So what are you saying, that I can't defend my own race? And then I made it the point that, you know, look, my skin is white. It doesn't mean that that's who I am. That's the way my DNA is. That's just the way the genetics fell. And, you know, so all that stuff was going on. And I did some videos. I've been vocal about it, about my opinion about this. And, you know, Clown Force came in and said, I kicked Telly out. I gave him a timeout in my chat because he said something about women and transgendered women in association to like Adam Camacho. And I said, you know, no, you're not saying that. I don't allow that in my chat. I just don't like, you know, meanness towards other people in other demographics, whether you agree with that demographic, you like it or not. I just don't like it in my forum. And so after that, Clown Force, I guess, who it basically is a friend, I think, of Telly's, pal or whatever, kind of like jokingly, like made it look like, oh yeah, he's a racist or blah, 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 to make it look like, or to further my conversation. And I think I said a few things like, I don't allow this on my channel, blah, 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 blah. Of which Blazin thought that was hilarious and felt the need to share it in your forum. And I felt like your response was that you were sort of dissing me at the same time. Like, I felt, this is how I feel. I don't know, maybe I was perceiving it wrong, but it was like, well, what are you doing over there? It's funny that you're even over there watching that anyway. I don't know. I can't tell what you meant by that, but I just thought it was interesting that it came up at all, really. And that Blazin somehow obviously was watching my show or knew that part. And then when I was in on Sewertown last night, she was in the chat too. And she kept trying to provoke me with that, of which I ignored. And so anyway, I mean, I like you. I mean, I don't, maybe you don't agree with like my perception of the association of these people saying all those kind of things and how they might be associated to the right or Thomas Schoenberger or whatever. Because, I have seen this happening with most of the people that are attacking me, have that allegiance. And a lot of those people who have that allegiance are also humming around the predator catcher group. That is an observation that I made. I think that's, you can connect those dots, or you can say here's a pattern of this within this group of people. And if people want to ridicule me me about that, obviously it's triggering people. It's not like the main thing that I really even want to talk about on Not My Rabbit Hole. But if we're going to talk about forums, and I'm sure you have your channel because you like to go, you riff, kind of like I like to riff. You want to put your thoughts out there. You want to put your thoughts out there, what you think about what's going on. That's basically all I'm really doing here. And, I feel like, I have a right to share my observation on a group that I don't really think is positive on the internet. I think collectively they've done a lot of harm to people, and they vacillate between different groups over different agendas. The same people are over here talking about Owen Benjamin are the same people that are batting for Thomas Schellenberger and repeating his defamation of someone like me. Hoax, all of them. I mean, I really don't bat for any team other than the team of what I see, which is me, and what I want to talk about, or what my viewpoints are on my channel. I'm not really part of this sewer town thing. That's what people have decided to put me into. I'm really a lone wolf here. BS does that constantly, tries to provoke, does it to me too. Just ignore her. But when she comes in and starts in trouble, she's out again. Yeah, I mean, if I'm in at somebody else's chat and she's there, she's there, she can do whatever she wants. I don't really want to be the disciplinarian in other people's chats. If I'm sharing space in somebody else's show, I'm not there. I really would prefer not to cause any drama. Not to say that I haven't before, but it's not something that I want to repeat. And, especially when you're a moderator for somebody else's channel, you have to kind of go by their rules and their association to that person. So, I'd rather remain neutral and ignore whatever she says. I'm not really interested in engaging really with Becky. But I will say this, she has participated maliciously with a bunch of other people who have cyberstalked and doxed me and done real damage to me. And I don't care what, I don't want her around me, really. I don't want her in my forum. I don't allow people that have harmed me like that in my life at all. And they won't share virtual space with me either. And it won't be okay. Because for me, these people have crossed the line. And I have zero respect for what they do on the internet or what they say about other people. They will never be okay with me. They are not people that I would even want to break bread with or be in the same room with. And let me be really clear about that. They have morally do things and treat people in the ways that I would never do. And I don't find it acceptable. Period. I don't repeat lies about other people maliciously to harm them. And they should be prosecuted for it. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. There was no diss on Tere. I was saying it's not surprising that Clown Force would go around complaining about racism. Okay, thank you. Oh my God, thank you. I was just like hoping that I'm glad you're here and you're clearing that up for me. When people who have clearly seen his racist words on my channel. Okay, I get it now. Well, that was the first time he was ever in my chat. It was like, or maybe it's happened before. I don't know. But I got him confused with Clown Sack, which is somebody else that I knew. And then I said, were you in my chat? And he goes, no, I'm Clown Sack, or I was Clown Sack. And I'm like, okay, I got to get my clown shit right. I don't know why my voice is going hoarse. I think what I want to do is play one more song, and then I want to share a little bit more of David Wilcock here for a second. Somebody else's take on David. I'll be right back. Let's see, what do I want to play? Let's do this. No, that feels too jarring. Okay, I'll play my Kimmel song from a long time ago when he was in trouble with Trump, just to piss people off, because he's up in the news again. Here we go.
Kimmel's back. Kimmel's back. Kimmel's back. Kimmel's back. Kimmel's back. Guess who's back when the clock strikes late? Jimmy's here to roast. Can't wait. Politicians shaking in their seats. He's got punchlines hotter than your tweets. Kimmel's back. Hide your headlines. Jokes so sharp they should come with guidelines. From Trump's new mugshot to AI fears, he'll laugh us right through the coming years. Celebs on strike, billionaires to space. Jimmy's grinning with that poker face. TikTok scandals, crypto crash. Guillermo's pouring shots in the solo splash. Hide your headlines. Jokes so cheeky, crossing state lines. From Barbie memes to climate news, nobody's safe from the jokes he'll use. Congress fights on cable news. Jimmy's got the bloopers queued. If late night's therapy, we're all in luck. Cause laughter's free when the world feels stuck. Kimmel's back, turn the lights on. Cue the band, the laughs go long. He'll roast your ego, spill your tea. It's late night chaos on ABC. Hide your headline, 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 hide your headlines. Kimmel's back. Kimmel's back. Kimmel's back. Kimmel's back. Kimmel's back. I'm gonna go to the place that's the sweetest bed. When I lay me down to die, I'm going up to the Twinkie in the, going on up to the Twinkie in the sky. That's where I'm gonna go when I die. I'm gonna bite the snack that I love best. Prepare yourself, you know it's a must. Gotta have a Twinkie if you wanna trust. Just say, Lordy, I'm so spread. Gonna meet the Twinkie in the sky. Never been a sinner. I've got a sweet tooth. I got an orange sponge cake, a creamy truth. So when I die, don't ask me why. I'm going G up to the Twinkie in the sky. Going on up to the Twinkie in the sky. That's where I'm gonna go when I die. When I die, and they lay me to rest, I'm gonna snack on the Twinkie I love best.
When I die and they lay me to rest, I'm gonna go to the place that's the sweetest best.
He's a very Twinkie guy, the kind you don't take home to mother. He will never let your pants down once you get him off the streets now. He's a super twink, a super twink. He's super twink. Guy is pretty wild now. The guy's a super twink, the kind of guy you watch on OnlyFans, yeah. The guy is pretty twinky. He's a super twink. He's super twink.
All right, you know what? I'm just going to come right back because, I basically just got some more tea, and then it's where my voice got a little bit better there. I don't know. People are like, oh, it's witchcraft. You know how people say, they go, my voice is going out because they're spellcasting me. No, I probably just overtalked. So, do you guys ever watch Black Balloon? There's a guy named Black Balloon. He did some stuff on David. No, this is more Black Balloon. I just went Black Balloon. He has 2 different channels. I kind of like his stuff. I mean, I watch it sometimes. Sometimes I disagree with some of his fact checking. Like he does use sources in his arguments that I think are kind of like maybe not as good. But here's a little bit. I want to share a little bit of his take on David Wilcock. Okay, I'm going to go past. He has like his opening. I don't think this is copyrighted, but I just don't want to go. So here we go.
All right, y'all. We back with another one. A video that a couple of y'all been asking for since the news came out yesterday about David Wilcock. Now, this one has probably took the most attention so far. I've seen just about every MSN, network cover it as far as articles on the internet. A lot of us have seen David Wilcock from the History Channel, Ancient Aliens. I remember seeing him That had to be like back in high school or something like that. David Wilcock has been around for a very long time. I was surprised to see this, and y'all already know it doesn't make no sense, especially when we get into his most recent live that was 3 hours long. It just does not make sense, y'all.
Yeah, I like Black Balloon. I've been subbed to him for like I think like a couple of years now, Seren. So yeah, I see you say that you're subbed to him too.
So really quick, David Wilcock's chilling message to viewers 2 days before death reports. It's a little bit scary. Now we're gonna get into some articles from the internet, see what people are talking about. We're gonna check out the clip, you know, where he kind of talked about the cabal, you know,
I just mentioned, right, and I showed like in his like how, or I mentioned earlier about how he sent that letter to his lawyer saying that if something happens to me, blah blah blah, unforeseen, and kind of mentions the scientists and stuff like that. So he already telegraphed that to his lawyer before he took his own life. But again, some people don't believe it. They think it's the whole thing's fake. And what also, but then, you know, the police recordings of the police going to the location and this, you know, everything has been released. So, you know, if you're thinking about like whether or not people faked that, that's a lot to do, to pretend like you're having like police dispatches about an event that what happened differently. I can't personally, I can't go there. Like if I hear the dispatch and the actual recordings, I mean, if they're faked, I mean, you could get if they faked it, I don't know. I just don't believe it that something is that much of a conspiracy. I can't go there. It's too far-fetched for me.
To grab some context, I'll also show y'all the clip that everyone has been talking about and posting from his last live. And it basically shows you or gives you a small insight.
I'll go more with the fact that the one who did that was not David Wilcock. It was a clone. I'll go with that conspiracy way faster than I will that the police the department faked 911 calls.
Into his state of mind, and it honestly sounded like a goodbye, and not a goodbye that he was gonna do anything to himself. Y'all already know I cannot say certain words in this video when we talk about that topic of self, you know what, it just doesn't fly on YouTube. So David Wilcock was 53 years old, and it looks like he died April 20th, Monday. Today is Thursday. And it looks like the news hit yesterday. I don't think any of it came out before yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. The oldest article I've seen is exactly about 24 hours ago. So now this happened in Boulder County, y'all, Colorado. Y'all already know anything that comes out of Colorado, I just do not, but you can't believe 1% of anything that comes out of Colorado.
Okay, so, and again, I mean, I like this guy, but like that is a bias. That is like, you know, that is prepping something like, you just can't believe anything that comes out of blank. That's part of persuasive speech before you start to say what something happened. So he's going to go with this whole thing is false, okay?
Not 1% of it is either a psyop, completely fake, or sacrifice. No,
because the entire media must be compromised. That's a conspiratorial viewpoint. And Trump perpetuates fake news. You're fake news. I mean, is the media controlled? Yeah, to some extent, it is. And I'm saying that from a person getting a degree in digital journalism, but some of it isn't. Like, a lot of it is, like, there are still people out there reporting the truth, and they take their oath. It's like an oath of having integrity and belief. Like, you are reporting what is really important, and that has happened in our media as well. So these, like, he talks in absolutes. So just be aware of that.
Damn near military industrial city type, you know what I'm saying? Black ops, all kind of psyops. We already know. We talk about Colorado so much, right? So according to this article, he had a residence in Nederland, Colorado, and basically they say they got an unknown call. Let me get the exact words of it.
Colorado is such a beautiful state. It really is.
So local authorities reported that they responded Monday to an incident near the 1400 block of Ridge Road. This is actually the photo of his alleged house, like these, wooden style cabins, right? So they said a emergency communications specialist dispatched officers over speculation that an individual was having a mental health crisis. Deputies arrived at approximately 11:02 a.m. with the police making contact with a man outside a residence.
Okay, so you get the point about this section, because this is just information we probably most of us who are here today already know. So let us, because it's a few days old, let's go to where he goes into a little bit different dialogue.
Say, this is a very recent, I think this is from the last live. If it's not, this is very recent, but this might be from that live, I'm not mistaken. But one thing I remember him saying, and was it in that live that he did 2 days ago? He talked about maybe being diagnosed with diabetes. He was experiencing all the symptoms of it. Obviously, he was 53 years old, and if his body was showing signs of diabetes,
he was talking about it. He was talking about his diet. He was also talking about, and I have watched this part of the video, about not being able to afford meat or good meat to eat, constipation. He talked a lot about constipation, and the skin on his feet peeling. I don't even think that this David Wilcock doesn't look like this David Wilcock. Like, his hair used to be blonde and like straight, and like this David Wilcock has almost reddish brown curly hair, and his eyebrows are darker. I'm like, where is, like, that's why I come up with, I go, well, what if maybe this is the clone David Wilcock. I know I'm making a joke, but I mean, if you want to talk about switching replacements here, we spent a lot of time on Jim Carrey. I mean, he doesn't look the same. What happened? He went from this guy here to being David Wilcock in the corner.
Probably would age him a little bit faster, but let's get into some of the clips from the internet about all of this stuff. All right.
Now, that's why the reason why I really like this video is because it gives the public reaction to what happened. He does.
I mean, you're telling me that David Wilcock,
look how he looks there. His hair's blonde and straight. I mean, I know we age, but our hair color doesn't get darker usually. And was he blowing it out all the time? Didn't it have it not be curly? It's curly way up near the top. I don't get it. That doesn't usually happen when you age.
prominent UFO researcher, an author of very specific books, might I mention, and a disclosure advocate, reportedly himself yesterday, which was April 20th in Colorado, and nobody finds this to be suspicious. We're talking about not only a prolific researcher, but also a lecturer, a filmmaker, even a New York Times best-selling author. We're talking about the dude that not only claimed telepathic ET contact, but also somebody that served as the director of advanced technology. He promoted next-gen military fighters, exotic propulsion, also advanced aerospace concepts. Now, who does that sound like? Kind of sounds like Amy Eskridge, you know, the scientist who was only 34 years old, the scientist who was openly researching and trying to develop anti-gravity technology. The scientist that in 2022, might I mention, died from a self-inflicted gun you-know-what. Keep in mind, neither the police nor medical examiners have publicly released any details of an investigation ever taking place. Did you know that Amy Eskridge herself claimed to have co-founded the Institute of Exotic Science? Also the same woman who said this on a podcast, saying if you stick your neck out in private, they will bury you. They will burn down your house while you're sleeping in your bed, and it won't even make the news. That's why the Institute exists, she warned. However, like it says here, the Institute for Exotic Science is apparently closed since its co-founder's death, and its website is no longer accessible. We're now talking about 13 different individuals dating all the way back to 2022. This should be breaking news.
So somebody said he stated many times that he was not in the state of unaliving, and he would never do the unthinkable to himself. Yes, there was a tweet from 2022 where he did tweet that.
But you know what? Also, though, that's a common thing that people in this media have done and do and say. I've said that out loud because I've been afraid or whatever. So I would never take my own life. A lot of people have said that. But I even think, didn't Isaac Happy even say that? I mean, so, but then you find out that in the end they do, or it appears that they do. I mean, what if people can believe, like, let's talk about Isaac Happy for a second. You can listen to the 911 calls. Someone named David Schroeder doesn't want to believe that. A whole bunch of other people want to think that the picture of him on the bridge is fake. Like, I don't know, no matter what happened, like, David Wilcock will stay in this world forever. People will always have a reason to talk about it because of what they even were associated with and how that has happened to people, or it's expected to happen to people, or it's, you know, it's, I don't know what to say. Do your best to cipher through some and find out what the truth is. Do you believe? Who do you believe when they talk? I'll tell you what. I can believe Black Balloon way better than David Schroeder or anything he says. But then again, you have to use your own mind. Does he use biased, absolute language about things? Yes, Black Balloon does that. That's a ding. That's something to look at and go, put your filter on when you're looking at content. Look at it from an overview. People's reactions aren't the truth.
Now, let me find it. I can't keep it up on the screen too long.
Anybody could just get on their camera right now and say anything, and then somebody can share your video and go, oh my God, that must be it. No, that's just somebody's trigger perception, or they're just jumping on the conspiracy bandwagon because they want clicks and views. Let's get real here.
Because y'all know they don't just catch the words that I say, they also will see it on the screen as in the YouTube bot. So this is what it says. I plan on living. I'm not in that mode at all. Just concerned about what happens when you prove God is real. So that was, what was that? Yeah, that was back in December 2022. And
4 years ago. A lot happens in 4 years.
Even in the clip that I'm going to show y'all from his last live, he's also not in that mode. Somebody said, I also just found out about Nick Pope allegedly went out the same way. So yes, according to...
No, he did not go out the same way. Nick Pope had cancer. So here, again, not factual. Reading people's comments that don't know what the truth is. This is the danger that we as people who are podcasters or YouTube, people, we got to cipher through this. Don't read it like it's real.
His family, Nick had cancer, which
There we
he
go.
talked about that in the
It says
live.
cancer. Okay.
I think I saved the clip because during the live, I think he found out that he had died. So somebody said 3 Body Problem is a documentary. I'm telling y'all.
He found out the guy, it wasn't that guy that he found out had died on his clip. It was another guy named Glenn Free, I think. And that guy wrote the book or co-wrote the book about David Wilcock being Edgar Casey reincarnated. I think he found out that guy passed away during his stream.
Watch 3 Body Problem, man. I'm telling y'all. Anything else from here? Something is happening. I don't believe he did it. Of course he didn't. He said they got him, bro. Unbelievable. I mean, y'all. Hold on, but before I get to going, hold on. Let's check out another clip.
So now David Wilcock is dead. A day after they found Nick Pope dead as well. Just one by one, dropping like flies. And these are current.
They didn't find him dead. He actually was sick. See how the wording is there.
Deaths, not like Ningley, who died in 2021, or Amy Eskridge, who died a few years back. No, these are current, yesterday and the day before. It's one after the other, one after the other. What are we missing? What are we missing? What are we missing? Because there's people who are coming out and saying, well, there's nothing that you can do. There's no connections.
Sometimes one of these people are just actors and actresses that get hired to hey, you know what? We need to spin some conspiracies about David Wilcock. Pay you $50 for this video.
Between the deaths. I mean, one was shot, one OD'd, one is missing, one was in a car accident. And it just makes me hope that these people don't have kids, because it's not about what doesn't add up. It's about what does, right? What does connect all of them, their research, their work.
Welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole, where you find the conspiracy behind the conspiracy.
The disclosure aspect, the releasing information aspect, and how it's all happening at once. And in every single case, their phones were factory reset and their computers were wiped, research gone. And yet,
look how emotional she is about this. And then they're going, oh yeah, and blah blah blah. Yeah. Oops.
Ningley was in a car accident in 2014. But do you mean to tell me after you get in a car accident with someone, do you go over to their phone and factory reset it, then go to their house and wipe their computer clean?
Well, maybe I've been emotional like this too, so maybe I shouldn't criticize her about stuff.
Wait, is there a reason that they're wiping all of this information? Are they getting ready?
Talk about wiping information. What about Max Spears' computers? Yeah, his information was wiped on his cell phone and his computer. Let's just throw that out there, and that's true.
To expose something, or pitch something out to the public that they know these guys will disprove, or that will completely go against what all these scientists and UFO researchers already know to be true. Do they want to disclose something but get all these people out the way so there's no flack about it? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm just throwing something out there because this shit makes no sense.
Of all their research and take whatever's there with you. If you get in a fight on a college campus and you shoot and kill someone, do you then factory reset their phone at the scene, then go back to their house and wipe their computer clean? Yeah, you do, if you're working for the right fucking people. But other than that, no. Hello, no. And as far as this whole investigation goes with Trump putting out this thing because he wants to do an investigation, we don't need it. We don't want it, and we don't fucking need it. The Spider-Man meme. You did it, and you're all the same fucking person. Listen, I'm done. We don't need their help with disclosure. We don't need their help with a fucking thing. Because we don't need that for people to believe that this shit is real. People are literally dying. People are fucking dying, Kim. Okay? You're worried about your earring in the fucking ocean, and there's people that are dying.
Nah, literally, these people dying. It seems like it's all linked to anti-gravity, free energy. It's about free energy. I mean, we already talked about this gravity, anti-gravity stuff. Like I said before, you have to believe in it to even support that this is what it's.
So this is the kind of reaction that's happening since David Wilcock has passed away. And I also think that part of this is because of the fact that we are at this point where the topic of UFOs is really coming to light here, through the media, through the mainstream media, through, there is something, I think there's something suspicious about those scientists' death, but I'm not willing to put David Wilcock in that category with them, based on like what I know about David Wilcock and what I've watched about David Wilcock, and how I think that a lot of David Wilcock's information is disinfo. I would not put himself in that same category. It sounded like that letter that he sent to his lawyer, he put himself in that category. But from an outsider assessing certain situations and looking at articles about the scientists that died, yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, I wonder about that. But David Wilcock being included in it, I don't think he should be included in it. But they're going to do that. And why not? Because, he talked about ancient aliens. He was talking about the same kind of technology of what these scientists seemed like it came out as. And so, obviously, if you're looking at patterns, or you want to, some of these things seem like the other, let me throw them in that category. But for other reasons, I would take David Wilcock out of that box. Despite his, saying, I'm grateful to be here, blah, everything else. He also exhibited other types of things that I feel I can read in his energy in his last video. He feels disheveled. He was rambling about stuff. He seems very vulnerable to the audience. He talks a lot about his own ailments. They give him donations. Like, it almost felt like he was fragile. To me, he looks fragile in that last video, and not somebody who was at the peak. Like some of these other scientists and stuff like that, they were not going on YouTube and talking about how awful they felt and how physically bad they felt, and how they were broke. They were in the middle of their research. This one guy, I guess, was associated to something. He went on a hike and just disappeared. These are different kinds of incidents that make you go, wow, I wonder what happened to that person. But David Wilcock, being in the state of mind that he was, it is very logical to think that maybe he did what he did to himself. As people, we can read that he was like in distress. Oh, he dyed his hair blonde. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to go. It's like I've been here for 2.5 hours. I did not mean to be here that long, but I'm glad I got to, do some stuff, get some stuff done pertaining to Urban Disciple and that situation and these people and what they're doing. I want to make a comment about a few things on Sewer Town last night also that I noticed and I wouldn't have been aware of if I had not been watching the stream. One thing that I didn't know was that Jedi's talking about me. And that he was, I guess, had some, I don't know if it was an old interview with Lestat talking about me with him. But that was a replay. And then, but recent as in pertaining to my interview with Liz Moldovan, I guess. And then also just what he thinks that I'm doing on my channel. I find it interesting that he feels the need to talk about me. One thing that did stand out for me, though, is and it was kind of funny, and they played an old retro video of Nathan Stoltman being on a show with Jedi, and then Nathan Stoltman was kind of saying something that I think was really important to him, and then I guess Jedi did some stream or visual in the background that Nathan didn't really care for, and it was kind of funny, but also you could tell that maybe Nathan Stoltman wasn't meant, he was not in a really great state of mind either, but I can kind of see why he would have reacted that way, because it was kind of like the image that Jedi showed him was almost kind of ridiculing what he was talking about. It was sort of like undermining what he was saying, which has always really my initial take. The first time I ever saw Jedi's video, it was a video about Nathan Stoltman. Him and Nathan Stoltman, he was smoking a lot of weed, and you could see the paraphernalia, and there was like shots of Nathan Stoltman in a mental state where, you know, he's not really okay, and it's kind of like why it sometimes when, like, I know in journalism, like what I learned is like when you're looking at certain footage and you make a decision, you're like, does this really make this person look bad? And they're in a vulnerable state, and will it make them have further damage? I mean, most of the time people don't care, but sometimes they do in certain situations of like saying somebody's name publicly, or, you know, even, you know, showing a certain image or choosing a certain image over another image. Whatever. These are kind of like sort of ethical questions that we question, but there's no really legality about it, really. But he's showing like Nathan Stoltman in this like vulnerable mental state, saying things that he probably wouldn't say if he wasn't, you know, having a breakdown and needing, or just came out of care, or I think he just got out of the hospital or something. I just felt like it was kind of exploitive on the behalf of Jedi. My opinion, right? You know, I'm like, if we're a group of friends talking around, I'm telling you my gut feeling or my instinct or my own take on it. This is how I see it. You may see it differently. But that got dropped, and I think I saw it on a channel first called Pondburger, and I mirrored it, and then when I mirrored it, Hoax used it, and me and other people who mirrored it and humiliated us in some way. It was like almost like bait. Oh, you people believe this? You're so stupid. It was used as like kind of like a weapon against us. And I think I shared compassion. Like I was like, oh, I hope he's okay. I hope Nathan's okay. Something like this. And that's something like what Pondburger said at this time. That is my introduction into like Jedi and who Jedi was and what Jedi is on it as a channel. What I think was interesting is that he, for a long time on one of his channels, he was using the thumbnail of a guy that went by White Rabbit. And that guy was, according to what I've investigated, was instrumental in passing the Guccifer 2.0 thumb drive to a woman named Trish the Dish, which gave it to it was given to Trish to get the dish, and then was given to Jason Goodman, and it was all about, I don't even want to say it right now, but the Seth Rich stuff, you know, and the Russia Gate thing, right? And that guy was instrumental in, and then it came out that the thumb drive, there was discrepancies with the thumb drive beat drive and what that was as being legitimate. And it was really ran on Crowdsource the Truth a lot. And Jedi's using that guy's real face, his real picture as his thumbnail. And then later on, there was like this footage of Jason Goodman talking to Jedi, thinking that that was that guy trying to talk to him, when in fact it was Jedi just using his picture. So it's like Jedi, for him to use a picture of a guy's identity as his thumbnail that isn't him, that goes deep like that on something, means that he's probably privy to some sort of, he knows the same information that I do. The kind of thing that a lot of people just really don't talk about, really. But another thing I want to point out about Jedi, when we're talking about like racism or sentiments that would be considered going in that direction, on his Rumble channel, he would often show the Confederate flag, in his thumbnails, and also was, identified himself in blackface. It may not have been himself in blackface, but he used somebody painted in blackface on Rumble. And I found that to be an interesting dot if you're looking at a group of people that do certain things together. And on that video of Nathan Stoltman talking about something that Jedi that was shown, that Jedi did something, and it was funny, but people were saying it was funny and everything, and the Confederate flag is in the background. So I thought that was interesting. And I want to say one more thing. Another person that has appeared in my, channel, and talked with Liz after I did my interview with her, and it's been in my channel, and is Telly, right? Telly was like in the chat last night. He's not normally a regular for Sewertown. Of course, people know him, right? And he was like trying to push my buttons. Oh yeah, Terry says there's a troll network or something like that. I didn't react to it. I saw it though. I saw it because like I said, he's irrelevant to me. I think he's an irrelevant dude. He's just like in this circuit here. So he did like it was like a full-on LARP. I think like he gets up and he's continuously attacking Dowd. Apparently, he's got a problem with Daniel Dowd as well. And he gets up and he goes on his channel, and the topic of discussion was that video that Dowd made where he gave his daughter Red Bull, but they try to say that it was whiskey. And I guess Nanya, I'm understanding, was the person who called his ex-wife, and then he had to go to court. He won in court. But then like Telly went up and started, was on the panel after being timed out. Angela G timed him out for a little while. So I guess he was timed out for 10 or 15 minutes. And I wasn't watching like Sewertown the whole night last night. Like I'd have it on, I'd do something else, I'd pop back in just to kind of see what was happening. And I happened to pop in like during the Telly time. I'm like, what? Telly's on the show. And he was like just, trying to accuse Daniel Dowd of being guilty of that accusation even after he had won the court case. And then he admits, he goes, well, if you look at the video, he goes, oh, I didn't watch the video. So this guy doesn't even take the time. That's how much of a troll he is. He doesn't even take the time to watch the video to see what really happens. He just goes up and keeps talking and talking and talking like a fucking troll. Okay? That's what I witnessed last night on Sewertown. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.
He ain't no Saint Germain, no crown, no name. He plays the game sharp as a flame. Who's to blame for the stolen fame? A shadow dance in the devil's frame. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on a stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Fast, can't find the ground. Echoes of chaos all around. You chose this dance, this mad parade, but not every choice gets accolades. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Going down the rabbit hole, losing control. Spinning wild on the stripper pole, laughing loud all for the lows. But baby, that's not my rabbit hole.